I used to tell a friend of mine, aging up does not equal leveling up. Just because you get older does not mean that you are maturing. It means that you are aging. Hey, you guys. This is Navigating the Nelsons, and welcome back to the channel. So this morning, I decided to just kind of come very unplanned, very unspecific, I guess is the word, and just come with a segment that I used to do on my Facebook Lives, which is called Morning Cup. But I think I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach and try to make it less motivationally and just have like just a talk with y'all this morning, just a girl's talk. I have my morning cup, by the way. This is one of my favorite mugs because it reminds me of what I need to be doing, which is being an optimist, not blind optimism, not toxic optimism. I think I heard that word before. If y'all see me look this way, it's because I have a screen over here that is showing what I'm doing on this thing. But you know what? Actually, let me turn it off. All right. So I want to talk to this morning about balance and how that word correlates with the word peace. As many of you know, I've talked about before, we live on one income in our home, which is not the traditional way that things are done or the standard of the way that things are done in society. There was a time that things were done that way. And feel like everybody should have the freedom to choose whichever way that they want to do it. And so this is the way that I've chosen to do things. And lots of people haven't agreed with it. A lot of people think that I'm crazy and that I should go back to work and all of those things. But that's just not what I choose to do. That's not what I prioritize. And so being on this journey, which is not something that I thought I would ever do, has been trying. It has been trying, to say the least. There have been lots of times where I've had to really challenge the person I am in my flesh and lend to the person that I want to be spiritually, the follower of Christ that I want to be. Because a lot of times things are really hard. Things are really hard. And the crazy part is that things are really hard for people who have 2 incomes, people who have 3 incomes, because of all the things going on, inflation, all those things that I am not educated enough to speak on, or educated enough in to speak on, rather. If you guys hear my sweet baby boys in the front, I'm taking a minute to myself. I've given them their snack for this morning. They have been changed, they are clothed, and they are watching Bluey, and mommy is taking a minute to record this. In a perfect world, I would have gotten up at like 6:30 and recorded this. But are we in a perfect world? I don't think so. But yeah, things can be hard. And I just want to encourage you that things are hard for everybody. And I don't say that to minimize or to make it seem like what you're experiencing is not real or valid, because it is. The weight of those experiences is a lot. It's challenging and overwhelming. I want to ensure you that you are not the only one experiencing that, so that you know it is not your circumstances that are the sole reason for that. And so what my husband and I are learning in this season right now is about maturing. There's a scripture that I want to share with y'all. Okay, so the scripture comes from James, the 1st chapter, and I'm going to read the 2nd through the 5th. 2nd through the 5th verse. And it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, when you encounter trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Allow perseverance to finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Now, if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him." And as I'm even reading it right now, I think about the fact that this same scripture was something that I had to rely on when I was working. Before my husband and I had any kids, it was just the two of us on two incomes, living lavishly, spending every dollar that we made, not saving, not making sure that we had what we needed. We were just spending and spending and spending, and we're not intentional with how we spend our money. And at that time, I needed that scripture to help me finish my job. I'm a social worker, and I worked in mental health for much of my social work time. And I still work in mental health now. I still do that on the side. Um, but even then, when I wasn't in this situation, I still needed that exact same scripture. And I find it comforting even now because guess what? Since transitioning from two incomes to one, we have matured when it comes to our finances. We have such a very different perspective of it, and a different perspective of what is a need and what is a want, and also a different perspective of how much is a lot of money in both ways. Like, meaning, how much is a lot of money? Do we make a lot of money now? Yeah, we do. Compared to a lot of people, we make a lot of money. And also, how much is a lot of money? Do I want to go through a drive-through and spend $25 3-4 times a week? That's a lot of money, and I don't want to spend that. And having to be mature and shift our mindset about things. And I would encourage all of you to acknowledge that you're in a season, if you are, of that same maturing, that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything, that you're going to have to go into another season of your life, and that if you don't learn the things that you're supposed to learn now, you won't be prepared and equipped for the next stage. To bring some of my social work life into it, right? So in social work, they talk about Erickson's stages of development, and that every stage there's like a milestone, no different than you have kids have like developmental milestones of walking and talking. They also have these like core value milestones that you complete. So like when you're ages 0 to 2, you're going to be, or 0 to 3, you're going to be experiencing trust. I think it's 0 to 2. You're going to be experiencing trust versus mistrust. So during that time, you're going to either learn to trust people or you're going to not learn to trust them based on if your basic needs are met, if you are in a loving home, different things like that. And so if you don't experience that thing, if you don't walk that out, and that is not a milestone that you complete, it's going to show itself in every forthcoming stage, every stage that comes next. So you may find that it's hard for you to trust people, adults, whatever have you, or even romantic relationships later if you don't master that milestone. And I find that to be the same for this. Like, if you do not go through this season and do what you're supposed to do and grow the way you're supposed to grow, then when you get to the next stage, you're not going to be equipped. I used to tell a friend of mine, aging up does not equal leveling up. Just because you get older does not mean that you are maturing. It means that you are aging. And I would encourage you all to take some time to just acknowledge this season. Acknowledge that it's hard. It is hard. Gosh, it's hard. But it's not hard for no reason. When you are preparing for a marathon, you're not putting your body through that thing because you just want to go through that hard thing. No, you're preparing for something that's going to be beautiful, that's going to be crazy, amazing. When you're going through childbirth and you're giving birth to children, it's hard. And you don't just give up, because guess what? You're still going to get to that next stage, and you got to push through, and you got to help that baby be born. And above all things, we are not aware of all the many moving pieces that are going on in our universe, in our world, and the things that God is trying to orchestrate with us. And so that's where the faith comes in. We have to be faithful and intentional and prayerful that God knows better than we do, and we just have to trust him. Now, what does all this have to do with balance and peace? What does it all have to do with balance and peace? Well, I will tell you, okay, since you're just asking so many questions, right? I don't ever want to be one of those people who come on social media and say, do 100% this and 100% that, and do this, and no TV or no processed foods, or no this or no that, or no, don't go outside, or go outside every day and never, don't wear shoes. I think that people who live polarizing lives like that do not have peace. And a lot of times they are driven by things like guilt and a desire to compete. And I just don't want to live like that. And so in this season that you're in, when you are probably consuming a lot of social media and seeing a lot of people do things, I would encourage you to make the goal be balance. And balance is not going to look the same for everybody. That's what the purpose of this season is. You're figuring out what you like and what's good for your family and what's good for your season. And that balance is not going to look like how it would look for me. My balance may be cooking 80% of our meals from scratch. But guess what? If you've got a bunch of kids at home, or maybe you don't have the resources to be able to do that, or maybe you're working full time or whatever it is that you're doing, your balance is not going to look like my balance. And I think that when we choose the goal of balance, then we're able to find peace. That when we choose to focus on what we can do and what we've been led to do, that we find peace. And at the end of the day, we have to find contentment in the life that we're living. We don't have to get complacent. Now, not to say that you can't have goals and you can't have desires, but we have to find contentment. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what's to come. We don't know what's next. And you can spin your wheels and try to figure out all these things. You guys, this whole influencer thing where people are like, encouraging you to buy things, I find struggle with it, because on one end, there are people who have the financial means to be able to purchase things that they want. And so if so, then for sure, you can market to those people. But I also I don't like the idea of like making people think that they need something. You don't need those things. Even if I ever get to a place where I am blessed enough to be able to do affiliate marketing, all that other type of stuff, I don't ever want to make it seem like this is something you need. If it falls in your balance, then of course, then you should buy it if you want it. But your life is not meant to look like other people's lives. One thing my husband talks about all the time is an unconventional lifestyle. And I know it's coming. It's not going to look like anybody else's. People are going to be looking at me heads turned, wondering why or how we live the life that we live. And guess what? I'm going to be looking like that too, because I'm going to be like, God, how can you be so awesome and great and bless me so much? And I have faith in that. Not just about YouTube or anything like that, but everything. I told you guys a long time ago on some old videos that the reason why I did YouTube was for two reasons. One, of course, I will hope that one day it will be able to be a source for my family so that I can relieve some of the stress from my husband. But also because I know God is going to do awesome things. Whether I document it or not, he's going to do amazing things. And I would love to document that journey and to allow other people to see that journey. So I've said a lot. I don't even know how much of this is going to end up in the video. It feels like it's going to be flustered, but guess what? I'm going to post it anyway, because I didn't post last week, and I don't want to lose the momentum of what I know that I'm being led to do. And I can nitpick and take and show every little thing or take away every little thing that I feel like isn't perfectly orchestrated or whatever have you. But at the end of the day, the message is still the same. Master this moment. Learn the skill that you need to learn to master this moment, whether it be baking or cooking or finances or sewing or some tech or some gardening or mechanics or whatever is the lack that you're experiencing right now, whatever is the thing that you're saying, if this could be better, I could be better. Okay, so figure out how you can make it better. Choose to see the things that you can control. Do not get caught up in the things that you cannot control because they're not going anywhere. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Master the moment. Find your balance. Your balance, nobody else's balance. All of these people on social media, they're just giving you references, suggestions. They're not rules, they're not laws. You're going to pick this thing and pick this thing, and you're going to leave things that aren't for you and your family. And also, the heart is not in vain. I had a police officer tell me one time, he was training me and my best friend in college, and I can remember being out on the track and we were running and I was crying because it was so hard. And I remember him saying, "Do you think I care about you crying?" And I'm like, dang, this man's mean. Why did I sign up for this? I elected to do this? That's crazy. And he said, "I'm saying that to you because you must first be uncomfortable in order to be comfortable." And I think that that's so true. That if you are living and lulling in the peace of comfort, that you are being lulled into a false sense of peace. All right, we got to start wrapping it up. Had to go check out the chittering. So I don't know if the camera's going to look the same. Does not matter. Yes, I got a retwist. Looks so good, right? Okay, back to the topic. You must first be uncomfortable in order to be comfortable. And if you're being lulled into this false sense of peace, it is to distract you. That if you are searching for comfort, that you will not elevate and you will not mature. And that you will ride that comfort to the end of time and look back over your life and feel stuck. And I'm going to validate that or confirm that with Erickson's stages of development. And so you remember we talked about trust versus mistrust from ages 0 to 2. So there's another stage. It is called ego identity versus despair. And basically, it's a time where you reflect over your life. And that happens from ages 65 to you pass away. And during that time, it's when you determine if you feel good about the life that you've lived. And I think that in order to master these other stages, then we have to operate outside of our comfort. We cannot just enjoy our comforts and not push ourselves and not be uncomfortable and not mature and master things. If we don't master those things, we're going to get to that final stage and we're going to be thinking, oh gosh, what kind of life did I live? I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have tried to get that job. I wish I would have decided to leave my job and enjoy my children more. I wish I would have started baking. I wish I wouldn't have been so afraid to put myself out there. And I don't want that for any of us. God calls for us to have life and life more abundantly. Not the bare minimum. Not just living paycheck to paycheck. Learning how to master. So if you take 3 things from what I said today: manage the moment, find your balance, and embrace the hard. You can do it, mama. And if no one else has told you, I'm very proud of you. Until next time, peace.